Super Bowl 48 coverage rolling right along here from Radio Row. Sheridan, Times Square, Darren McFarland, Brad Hopkins, and Derek Mason with you, all brought to you by Low T Centers of Nashville. And here at our table, David Hunt, the president of Hunt Auctions. I remember talking to David last year down in New Orleans, and he's the guy, Brad and Derek, that you say, oh, that's the guy with all the fun stuff, all the cool stuff. Well, David's bringing, once again, his cool stuff that fans can auction off and be a part of and own. David, how you doing?
Very well. Very glad to be here.
So you brought your bag of goodies again. So
Yes.
tell us what you have at our table.
Well, it's our 6th year of doing it with the NFL auction program, and what's great every year is our goal all along has been sort of to bring the best of what NFL and NFL auction have right from the field for the current players, and sort of merge it in with the history of the game and bring to fans and collectors some of the greatest things of the previous players. So, as always this year, we've got some great game-worn jerseys, Peyton Manning, Marshawn Lynch, Andrew Luck, Colin Kaepernick, literally just about the greatest names in the game today, and especially with Peyton Manning this year having such a historic season. His legacy was already established, but now you start hearing the conversation, not one of the greatest, maybe the greatest quarterback ever if he wins on Sunday.
Now, David, I see some of your auctions, some of your items that you have on the table. Now, I'm looking at the Super Bowl rings.
Yes.
Do they make them specifically for your auction, or do you get them from, like, one of the VPs or the CEOs of the organization?
Yeah, good question. I mean, usually, not always, but usually the rings are consigned by either a player, let's say he had a 10-year career, but played one season with the team and played one game and ended up they won that year. It didn't have the same attachment to him. Maybe his grandkids are going to college now, and it's a good way to give back to them. Or in both these rings cases, like the Colts ring from '58, that's from the family of one of the original owners of the team. It's amazing. People often will say, well, how could they sell this or how could they sell that? People that played the game and worked in it and lived in it, it was a job. They worked in it. It's like if you're an announcer, your microphone is your tool, but maybe if you're a collector, you think that's really neat. You like to own that. It's hard for people to understand that, but because rings are such a visible sort of symbol of the championship and the wins, but they're not always significant to everybody, and they'd rather take that money and maybe use it for their family. And even with the vintage things that are in this auction, even a portion of those proceeds go to NFL auction charities too. So it's
now,
a good thing.
what would be some of the neatest things that you've auctioned off? I know you got the Super Bowl rings and you got some of the jerseys. Are those kind of like the neat, unexpected things that you get?
I think one of the fun things that we get from the NFL every year are some of the kickoff balls and the opening game coins from the Super Bowls. One thing that we had a couple years ago when we were at the one with New Orleans versus Indianapolis, the onside kickball, the actual ball. And if you think about, if you're a Saints fan, that is the holy grail. I mean, there's nothing great. That won that game for that team. That just changed the entire game upside down. And we estimated to bring 1,000 to 2,000. I think it brought $14,000. Because it's not about what these items are worth; it's what they're worth. What somebody will pay for them. What they're into, what it means to them. And if you think about what that game and what that moment meant to the city, to the fans and the team, that's what translated into that value.
We're talking with David Hunt here, and obviously some of the great equipment that you have here at auction, it does come, by surprise. And I'm looking at Damian Barry, the situation where he was part of the Baltimore Ravens in the preseason, got cut before the regular season started, but is still afforded a ring. But, of course, he knows that he didn't have anything to do with that Super Bowl run that they had against the 49ers.
Sure.
So he decides to go ahead and get some money for that ring.
Right.
So is that one of the situations that you find yourself in where you find yourself having some of this stuff from situations like that?
Yeah, it does happen that way. Or an injury.
Right.
Who knows? There's so many different circumstances that come up. We've had jerseys from players where it's a game-worn jersey, but it has almost no use because maybe they got injured. Maybe they only played literally a half of the first game and then tore an ACL or something. They're out for the whole season. Whereas you get a player like a Marshawn Lynch, who obviously is a bruising running back, so you can see the wear on this jersey.
Yeah,
I mean it's just pounded, and that's what collectors like. By the way, the
Are
more
those
you
Skittles
use, the better.
smash in the front there?
I can't. Wow. That cannot be authenticated, but maybe. So it really does. It does correlate to how the team's doing. I mean, the Seahawks obviously, beating the 49ers, as much as the Seahawks were a great team, I think most people thought the 49ers were going to win. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the Colin Kaepernick stuff we had was sort of escalating in price, and all of a sudden, boom, Seahawks beat them, and now it's sort of flipped upside down.
David, I know this is radio, but you said that's a game-worn jersey by Manning. That doesn't look like it's game-worn.
Well,
did anybody touch him?
With Peyton's jersey, see, that's a lot of use.
Okay.
Because
That's a little speckle of green.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he gets rid of the ball. There's a lot of quarterbacks that could take a lesson from this jersey. You want your jersey to be clean and white if you're a quarterback, but it has the salute to service patch, which that's, again, one of the things I can't emphasize enough is all the great work that the NFL auction charities do, whether it's breast cancer awareness or salute to service. They're really, really active and good about that amongst the 4 major sports. They do a great job.
So when you are auctioning off these items, do you guesstimate on how much each item is worth and then either start the bid there and go up, or how do you get your base number for each item?
It's a good question. Yeah, we do have estimates in the catalog and online, and they're just that. They're just guidelines. Like Peyton's jersey, we estimated at $10,000 to $15,000. That's just based a conservative number based on some others that have sold. It's already at $14,000 now, and the auction's still almost a week away. So it's a little harder when you get into the high-end vintage pieces, as you can imagine, because they're so unique. I mean, the Colts ring is estimated at $20,000 to $40,000. That could bring $15,000. It could bring $110,000. It's really hard to say exactly where all these things will fall. That's what makes it fun, too.
Let me ask you this. Determining the value of the items that you're actually auctioning off, is it popularity? Is it statistics? What do you think that plays into the number that you actually get? Because I can guarantee you that you could have a Tim Tebow jersey sitting right here, and it would go for a lot. Even though he hasn't accomplished much in the NFL per se, but the popularity would obviously give him a little bit of a, I guess you could say, some credentials.
Yeah, popularity clearly is valuable. Accomplishments, Peyton Manning's a really interesting one because he was a great quarterback before this year, obviously. First ballot Hall of Famer, all that good stuff. But at the age of 37, and coming to a new team and doing what he's done this year, even people who weren't huge Peyton Manning fans are Peyton Manning fans now. They're like, forget it. This guy's just one of the greatest ever. So you see the price shift up. And on the flip side, you can have a player who runs into some trouble, whether it's off the field or on the field, and it hurts the value. It does not help its value of memorabilia.
Really quick, I'm looking at this Peyton Manning jersey. I can't tell you if it's from last year, the first year with the Broncos, or if it's from this year.
Right.
Is there a difference in price? Last year he didn't get to the pinnacle. This year he did.
Yes, clearly, because especially if he ends up being the MVP, then that's what's speculation here too. This auction's on Saturday. Remember, the game's on Sunday. So somebody buys a Russell Wilson jersey or buys Peyton Manning, they might be able to double their money the next day, or lose a little bit of money, not necessarily literally, but the value might not be as strong because they didn't win or played poorly the next day.
So, David, tell us how people can get involved in this, and obviously with so many cool items, how they can bid on these things.
Sure. There's over 900 lots total, and the prices range. We're talking about some expensive things here, but there are hundreds of things that are under $500 in the auction also for everybody. If they go to huntauctions.com or NFLauction.com, it'll show all the items, and you can bid online up until Friday, and then 400 of the lots go live on Saturday here at Macy's at Herald Square in New York.
Derek Mason, this jersey for Peyton Manning is sitting right in front of us, right? What do you think the estimated value is as it sits right here?
Peyton, what he has accomplished this season and breaking all the passing records and their offense, the way they played, I would guesstimate it at about $10,000.
You saw the sheet.
No, I didn't, for real. I didn't know. I didn't look at it. I wasn't even paying attention to the numbers.
10 to 15,000.
We're going to hire him.
Yeah, no kidding.
We got a new estimate.
So if he wins, we're talking more than that. We're almost double.
But think about that, though. Do guys actually use this as a potential investment? Like what you said, if they buy it on Saturday and he goes out and wins the game, that could be a $5,000 increase.
We had a Tom Brady jersey several years ago that was estimated at $10,000 to $15,000. And it was such speculation that he was going to win. I can't remember actually if it was the second win he had or not, but ended up bringing $60,000 before the auction. So it really is. It's not about what they're worth because the worth is all relative. It's what somebody will pay for it. Yep.
David, thanks for doing this. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you. Good to be here.
David Hunt, president of Hunt Auctions. HuntAuctions.com is how you can get involved. More from Super Bowl 48 Radio Row coverage. Coming up next, all brought to you by Low T Centers of Nashville.